Okay, guys, this is going to be my review of the movie Amistad, directed by the great Steven Spielberg, who is the greatest director of all time. I stand by that. And I always say this with Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest attributes he has as a director is he brings a great sense of adventure to most of his films. And while this film is mostly spent in a courtroom, there is a lot of scenes at the beginning and through the middle that are spent on boats and islands and cages, and it just has like an adventurous feel. I don't know how to describe it, but I guess maybe you could. The thing about Steven Spielberg is like with Christopher Nolan, as good as Christopher Nolan is as a director, you can tell when you're watching a Nolan film. If you told me this film wasn't directed by Amistad, or sorry, if you told me that Amistad wasn't directed with Steven Spielberg, I would understand. Yeah, because Steven Spielberg doesn't have like a Spielbergian touch to it. That is like visually there. His touch is making great films, but like Nolan, you can just see. Oh yeah, that's a Nolan film. With Steven Spielberg, it's because of the variety of types of films. But yeah, I just think yeah, and it has a great cast. To fill it out, and I think the story is just great. I think the story of kind of this idea of and explores so many great things because on its surface, these slaves attacked their slave owners. But what I love is this film is not about the basics. It's not about slavery and that slavery is wrong because we all know slavery is wrong. It's not about that. It's about understanding the why. The why is slavery bad? The why did the slaves attack the slave owners? It's not the basic, oh yeah, slaves are bad. It goes on a deeper level. And and because this film is so deep, you see the brutality of slavery. See them get stripped from their homes, see them getting whipped, see them from having a perfect life to now becoming mere property and discovering. And I guess this film tackles ideas like every person is born with equal rights, tackling this idea of slaves at the end of the day are humans and should get the same human rights, and it just tackles all these big topics in such interesting ways because it's not like they just throw all this messaging for the sake of messaging. It has the story, and I think it sets what the story is supposed to. The story of Amistad is supposed to set precedent for future events, precedent for the right to abolish slavery, precedent for the rights of slaves, the precedent of rights for black people, the precedent for the Civil War. Because ultimately, what it is, this court case, the U.S. versus Amistad, is ultimately the precursor to the why it's good, the why it's necessary for the Civil War, which is very interesting. And I think what I can also expand on that is I think U.S. history is very fascinating to me. I think exploring history and the events that shaped where we are now and where we're going forward is going to be an interesting thing. That's why I definitely think some aspects of 2020 probably will get made into a film at some point. But yeah, it wasn't clear to me till the end that this was really happened. So yeah. I mean, there's not much to hit on it. I think it's definitely moves at a very slow pace. I think there is scenes you could have cut out, but it's just so great. And the I forgot the main slave. He had a great performance, and I think they really gave you the slave's perspective, and I think that was so interesting because it's not just they gave you they gave you every perspective in this film, and it was greatly directed by Steven Spielberg. And honestly, one of the best attributes of this film was the music, was the score and the African tribe music and the soft music, and I myself was happy. I was so invested in the story, so invested in what happened, and the Anthony Hopkins speech at the end was just so great because it was something that I thought about for so long. Like in the Declaration of Independence, it talks about how all men are created equally, and this kind of would ultimately by having slavery would go against that, and how that can be used in a court case by saying, and also by simply saying like, hey, they're not property of Spain. They're not property of anything. They're Earth citizens. They're African citizens, and they're at the heart of it human beings. And I don't know. I think it's very interesting. I thought about this yesterday. How I kind of like these kind of legal dramas because it's kind of how we see so much. How the most common type of film would be like a hero versus villain type of film. But what's great about court dramas or legal dramas is it's not hero versus villain. It's hero versus the law. And I think that's what makes those types of films interesting to me because it's not showing the black and white hero versus villain. It's showing about hero versus law and how laws can be flawed, or how maybe if you did something differently you wouldn't go against the law, and how the law can really be a bigger conflict than any other villain could be, which is kind of a very interesting thing to dive deeper into. Anyways, stay tuned for more videos coming right at you.